Alright, you have heard that the oldest Christian church in the world was founded in 42 AD, the Coptic church of Armenia, as well as Ethiopia. You have also heard that the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest and complete Bible on earth, written in the Ge'ez, a national language of Ethiopia, and they say it's nearly 800 years older than the King James Version. Is Ethiopian Christianity African? Was it the first in Africa? Where does it fit in history, in Ethiopian history? Is it the one with the true Bible? Ethiopia and its culture, where does it fit? Why should we ask these questions? Why should we need answers to these questions? Welcome to Marifado, and where we want you to subscribe to our channel, to like, to share, and to leave a comment. We need to answer the questions about Ethiopian Christianity in Africa, because we need to understand how we came to have Falasha or Ethiopian Jews, Orthodox Ethiopian Christians, and the reason why Ethiopia was never colonized, and whether Christianity honestly started in Africa, in Ethiopia. To answer these questions and many others that are very critical, we need to look at three major paradigms. The first one is about man-made origins of Jesus. The second one is pre-Christian Ethiopia, followed Mahatic, Bantu, Isintu, Unu mysteries, or religion or spirituality. You can give it any term that suits the culture, and that Christianity colonized Ethiopia first. That's why it was never colonized again. So first and foremost, there has never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of any race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ, also known as a Serapis. This is explained in the book The Historical Origin of Christianity by Dr. Walter Williams. So how did Jesus come about? Jesus is a man-made deity in origins, made from the bull Apisa, an African bull, an African ancestor Ausari, and together they give us the Egyptian version of Serapis, who later became the Greek version, and later on became Jesus Christ as Ptolemy I Sota. That's how Jesus was created, just like that, a deity that was man-made. But he was enhanced and given more power because Christianity traces its roots into Judaism, and the councils, the seven councils that set down, crafted the Jesus that you have today. And also at a certain point on the Council of Chalcedon, that's where you have the Oriental Orthodox churches, where the Ethiopian church came from. Let's not forget that Jesus was a created deity, was a man-made divinity. The history of the church, from Judaism to the Protestant, is where we weave and find the weaving of human effort as they created a deity. And this is very critical, because if you want to understand church history, you realize that the Oriental Orthodox non-Chalcedon churches, which means the Coptic, the Eritrean, the Ethiopian, the Indian, the Syrian, the Armenian, have the Ethiopic Jesus who looks like this, like a Syrian Jew. And prior to that, the Assyrian church of the East had already split from the main church, 451 AD. Then the Eritrean or Ethiopian church came out. You can see who gave birth to what. We shall explain this and go deeper. Then all the churches that we have today are also called Chalcedonian churches, and a lot of explanations that we have done prior to that time. So these Oriental Orthodox churches that broke off from the main Christian groups after the Council of Chalcedon, after much debate and the formulation and the arguments and confessions, the Chalcedon declared that Jesus had two distinct natures, divine and human. Church leaders hoped that this would undermine the claims of the heretical Nestorians. Nestorians never believed that and never followed that. So to those churches that later were founded in Hamit, Egypt, and Ethiopia, the understanding that they had, known as Miaphysitism, emphasized the union in one person of the incarnate word. So Miaphysitism is the Christological doctrine that holds Jesus, the incarnate word, is fully divine and fully human in one nature, physis. So is the Ethiopian Christian belief authentic? Is it African? No, it's not. We can see where it came from. So first and foremost, pre-Christian Ethiopia followed Maatic, Bantu, Isintu, Unu mysteries. They actually worship the snake like Nyami Nyami. And they revered deities, just like Hermetic deities. It's very, very clear. So because of that, the Abrahamic religions, as well as the Ethiopic Christianity, look at Hamit as a source of idolatry, slavery, and evil. So much so that in their books, the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, they are unanimous in agreement that African deities are evil and false. Is it possible then for you to believe that the Ethiopian Christianity is African and it's ours, and that the Bible and Kemet are together? No. Your history, if you are following that way, you are being a hypocrite and you are confused. So we know that pre-Christian Ethiopia was called a pagan state where they worshipped and many deities, including a deity known as Arwe. There's a Kemetic inscription that shows that the ancient Kemetics actually identified that the people in Punt, which is Ethiopia, here shown here, worshipped and revered deities. So because of that, we want to look into the understanding of these Ethiopians that never were following Christianity prior to Christian's invention or Ptolemy's invention. Most Egyptian customs are of Ethiopian origin, Diodorus Siculus said in his book. From our book, Free from God, it is clear that Ethiopia was Africa. Even India was also known as Eastern Ethiopia. In the same book, Free from God, we read the following. The Ethiopians were the first to teach men to worship the deities, to offer them sacrifices, to do pompous events, sacred feasts, and other ceremonies by which men practice divine worship. They are everywhere famous for their piety, and their sacrifices seem to be more pleasing to the deities. Diodorus Siculus, Sicily, Book 3:2. The Hamiticians were the first to have expressed the doctrine according to which the human soul is immortal. Herodotus 3:123. Sculpture and writing originated with the Ethiopians. Diodorus of Sicily, Book 3:2. Very, very clear that the understanding of soul and spirit was prevalent in Hamit before Christianity. But how come we find that Ethiopia was never colonized? We noted that Ethiopia was not a Christian nation because Christianity started after millions of years of Ethiopian civilization all over the earth. We demonstrated that Christianity came out of synods orchestrated by Europeans in Northeast Africa. But how did Ethiopia become a Christian nation? We will look into that. A man brought a religion of Christianity to Ethiopia, which was formalized by Europeans in their synods, and this man was a Syrian Jew. His name is known. It's Frumentius, also known as Abba Selama, or Father of Peace, or Okesate Baheran, Revealer of the Light. He is the first person to bring Christianity in Aksum as a court official who was captured when they had a shipwreck, or some they say he was enslaved. And after living for years, he managed to do one thing that is dangerous for melanin-dominant human beings. When a king adopts a belief and destroys their own Ubuntu, this is what King Ezana, Abreha, and Saizana Asbeha, the twin brothers in Aksumite kings, converted to Christianity, and in 3340 AD, they made Christianity the official religion of the empire. And this is probably where you get the story you read in Acts 8:26-40 about Philip baptizing the Ethiopian monarch or eunuch or prince. This Ethiopian is Ezana. This story is not original. It is an insertion of an event that occurred because of Ezana's conversion. Until the 1950s, the Ethiopian church was subordinated to Alexandria in Hamit in Egypt, so they were considered a branch of the Coptic church. So who are the Coptics? The Coptics are not the original ancient Egyptian. To the contrary, because Egypt was already a melting pot of races and cultures from West Asia and Southern Europe due to several invasions, as well as migrations that occurred for over 1,800 years. So it is very clear that the Arab and Turkish invasions and everything else was adding already to a population that had already been mixed up by these invaders. So that's why you now find the Coptic church worshipping a European Jesus happily, excitedly, with no qualms at all. Is Ethiopia the origin of Christianity in Africa? Ethiopian Christianity has a lot of paintings, and paintings of Jesus and Mary and many other articles and books. Despite some black Christians, Muslims, Jews and Hebrews claiming that ancient Ethiopians were the first Christians and that Jesus was black and that the Ethiopians themselves were Christians, this is not correct, because the Ethiopians themselves have never primarily depicted Jesus as black and have no interest whatsoever in a black Jesus or a black God. They have their own God who looks like a Syrian. This is a young man painting Jesus, and look at the Jesus that he is painting. Look at what this priest is painting, and it's very, very clear you cannot be lost here. The only reason the Europeans did not colonize Ethiopia was because Ethiopia was already mentally colonized 1,500 years before by the Greeks and these Syrians, who were already servicing and causing Ethiopians to worship a European. Very, very clear, without any doubt. So who wrote the Ethiopian Bible? Let's go into this because it's very critical. According to tradition, Abba Garima, also known as Abune Garima, a monk who arrived in Ethiopia from Constantinople, Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey, during the 5th century AD, he is credited, listen to this, with single-handedly writing and illustrating the 4 Gospels in the Ge'ez language. And the legend has it that he accomplished this remarkable feat within an astonishingly short period, reportedly completing the task in just 1 day. So he had these books already, and he finished books, very, very clear. So this Abuna Salama, also known as Saint Salama, was an early bishop and a religious leader in Ethiopia. He is believed to have contributed to the organization and establishment of the current Ethiopian church and Ethiopian Christianity, including canonization of their Bible. Very, very, very important. This video is to remind melanin-dominant human beings, including black Hebrews, black Christians, black Jews, black Muslims, that you cannot hook up Hamit or Kush or our Bantu history and connect it with these religions to validate Jesus, blackface, or Moses, or Muhammad as Bantu or whatever, because these were created by Greco-Romans. Even if Jesus is black, he has not saved anybody. He is worthless in liberating black people as he has been for centuries. So Ethiopian Christianity is European or Oriental Eastern Orthodox religion. The proof is there in the history of the church. So their Bible, whether it's original or is the oldest in Africa, does not matter at all. So is Ethiopian Christianity African? No. There is no redemption outside of your culture. And you have to go back to our roots, Bantu roots, so that you can receive that which your soul needs to transcend when you pass on. Yes, if you want to learn more and you want to work on this matter, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share them, leave a comment, and subscribe to our Hamiti Iburu Ethics video YouTube channel. Your manager to Priest Rabbi LM Mjakanja says Ethiopian Christianity is not an African religion, spirituality, culture, or tradition. Be wary of it and come back to your own roots. Amen.